Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world watching this right now. And welcome back to another video on my investment portfolio channel. What a crazy week we have just been through. And what it seems to be, what's the date today? The 6th? Season 6, episode 6 of 2020. This whole year has actually just been a mess. It's crazy. But yeah, this week, obviously I'm referring to the events that have occurred in America, the protests which has evidently spread across the world, and it's a shame really that I have to speak on this subject in 2020. I mean, it's a part of society that my parents' generation had faced, my grandparents' generation had faced, my great-grandparents' generation had faced, and so on, and yet we still don't have a solution for it. I mean, it's a pretty simple solution in my opinion, and that's just, we just want justice. That's it. It's pretty much black and white. That's all we want, justice. And yet it seems so hard for people to come around and have that mindset of treating people as any other normal person and not disregarding their race, religion, ethnicity, or any of their demographic statuses. And it kind of hurts me to say this, but I'm not starting. I've kind of lost faith in humanity, and I'm a 21-year-old. So I should really not be saying I've lost faith in humanity. But over the years that I've kind of gained knowledge about the world we live in and all the hate that's spread across the world, I mean, it's hard not to lose faith in humanity, but this is just where my mind is right now. And the thing that annoys me the most, especially in America, is that this so-called president of the United States, Donald Trump, has not come out to support his people. Instead, his aim is like to cause division across the country, point the finger, always blaming someone else, when instead he should be looking for solutions as the president. I don't even like calling him the president. I put that president word in between quotation marks because I don't see him as a president. A president is supposed to unify people, and what this guy is doing to that country is causing a division. I think what people underestimate the most is the power of the tongue. Over any weapon, over any destructive device, the power of the tongue is potent. And the kind of thing that he needs to be doing right now is coming out, not through Twitter or any social media, but coming out physically, standing in front of a microphone and saying something like, my fellow American citizens, what we're going through right now, obviously it's not acceptable, but we'll get through this. We'll get the justice that we need, and we'll work on building a better community. But what is he doing? What is he doing? And I'm not just putting him under the spotlight. There's obviously other countries that could be doing better as well, but we're not. And you know, the thing that blows my mind is that when I was younger, I think many people used to think this as well. When we were younger, we used to see America as this like paradise of a country that we'd all want to live in when we get older. But then as you do get older, you realize that this world is not all rosy, and it shouldn't be like that. I mean, when people go on holiday, they're probably researching which parts of a country that you don't want to go to based on the racial abuse you might receive, or any death threats, or any factors that could affect your life. It should not be like that. I should be able to go to any country that I want and feel safe. And I'm just going to finish off on this quote that I've been seeing circled around social media, which is, it's not enough to be not racist, you have to be anti-racist. Now I'm just going to say that for the people in the back that didn't hear me properly, and I'll say even slower for you. It's not enough to not be racist, you have to be anti-racist. At the end of the day, nobody's born racist. It's something that you develop over a lifetime. Just make sure that you have the right people around you that know the difference between right and wrong, and don't plague your mind with malicious thoughts. But yeah, enough of that now. Let's get back into my portfolio. Alright, let's open this up and see how the market performed this week. So my portfolio now stands at £6,066 with an unrealized return of £340, which equates to roughly a 6% increase. So my graph is looking a bit mad. This first jump here is when I made my weekly investment. So the European markets open around this time, followed by the American markets. And Monday, Tuesday, we had pretty much a consolidating pattern. And then on Wednesday, we had some good news around Asia and Europe about the businesses and countries starting to reopen their businesses again. Then on Thursday, we had a fall, and then ending the week on Friday, we had another rise, followed by good news around unemployment rates not being as bad as initially feared. So overall, not a bad week. So let's get into some stocks and see who were our top winners and top losers. So the first stock we're going to have a look at is Carnival. So this week Carnival has gone up 36.7%, nearly 40%. And just before I go into this, I just want to put a disclaimer out right now. I don't think many of these companies had good news surrounding them. The whole sentiment about countries starting to reopen and more people willing to go outside was really a boost for most of these stocks rising this week. So yeah, if we take a look at the news for Carnival this week, we can see that their German subsidiary, Ada, or Ida, however you pronounce it, is starting to gradually resume work in Europe. However, in America, specifically in the US and Canada, these actions are not set in place, especially while the United States has implemented an entry stop for Europeans until quote-unquote further notice. So that's good news for us Europeans. Hopefully people that want to go on cruises are able to in the near future. As well as this, the guests that have been affected by the schedule changes that Carnival have implemented due to the COVID virus. Only fewer than 80% of people are requesting refunds today. So it seems like there is that desire to go on sales once this situation has been resolved and things are back to normal. And in addition to this, the staff layoffs, the pay cuts, and the exclusion of dividends provided Carnival with more liquidity to stay afloat for a longer period of time. But on the flip side of this, there's also news that Carnival, as well as EasyJet, are going to be kicked out of the FTSE 100. So why that's caused the stock to go up nearly 40% this week? I think that comes back to the disclaimer I made at the beginning around the fact that countries are starting to reopen their businesses, and more people are willing to go outside. And maybe also due to the fact that Carnival has taken a massive hit this year, so maybe people are seeing Carnival as a discounted stock and trying to get into it now. But yeah, I think it's mainly around the good news that we've been hearing surrounding the economy this week. So the next winner this week, if it allows me to go back, is a new stock that I invested in, which is Southwest Airlines. And once again, this is another stock that falls into that category of risky stocks, and so I only allocate a certain percentage, which is 5% of my overall investment pot, to these kind of stocks. And as you can see, Southwest Airlines went up 18.84% this week. And the main reason that I invested in this stock was because it had taken such a hit because of COVID-19. I guess because airlines are considered cyclical type of stocks, they have a bit of a risk to them. They had taken a massive fall, and so I thought maybe I could find some value around here and start investing gradually into this stock. And the reason I chose this airline in particular, because they had a good balance sheet compared to the other big airlines in the US. And so I thought even if airlines suffer, Southwest Airlines was going to be the least affected in a bad way compared to the others. And so the last top winner that we have is another new one that I added last week, which is InMode. and that had gone up 16% this week. So in the last episode I mentioned that InMode looks like a stock that follows the overall trend of the big indices like the S&P 500, and so I think that's exactly what it's doing now. So when the market goes up, InMode goes up. If the market goes down, InMode goes down, and that's a general attachment that it has. It's also still relatively a new company. It was founded in 2008 but only had its IPO I think it was last year in August, so it hasn't even been a year now. So it's a company that I'm still gonna invest in and see where we go from here. Okay, now moving to our top losers. First up we have AMD. I feel like, was this a top loser last episode? I feel like it was. It's just been losing and losing. Alright, so AMD went down 1% this week, and once again I just think that's the stock price correcting itself. It's been high for so long now that maybe it just needs to come down a bit and settle. For those that have invested in AMD, I think the patience that you have will be rewarded at the back end of this year when the new gaming consoles have come out. Obviously they are making use of some AMD chips and GPUs, and now that we are in quarantine, I expect that the gaming demand will significantly increase for those consoles. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So the next losers that we have are Kimberly-Clark, which fell 1.65%. You know what, let me cover the other loser as well, which was Walmart, that fell 2%. And I guess you can consider both of these stocks as consumer staple stocks, and generally those stocks fell this week anyway, and the reason for that is I don't know. I honestly do not know. I can't even come here right now and make up a story on the spot because I honestly don't know why that has happened. There was an article that came out this week though, saying that India's richest man has a company called Reliance Retail that's been trying to compete with the likes of Amazon and Walmart in India. But I can't imagine that being the reason why Walmart fell 2% this week. So I'm not even going to try and come up with a nice story for you and make you believe that. I'm just going to leave it as that and let that be. And oh my goodness, I've just remembered I received 2 dividend stocks this week, didn't I? Yes, I did. Oh, 3 dividend stocks. Okay. So I got one from Intel. Oh, so as you can see, I got a dividend from Visa, Walmart, and Intel. 28p, 8p, 4p in total. That is big money. Big money. That 28p I can use off to pay a mortgage for a house that I don't even own. That 8p from Walmart, there's a Ferrari dealership down my house. I can put some money on that. That is big. But yeah, just a couple of p's in dividends. I'll obviously reinvest that back into my stocks and try to accumulate that compound interest that we all know and love. But aside from that, the stock or ETF, should I say, that I'm most happy with this week is this Vanguard high dividend yield. So this week it finally turned green after, when did I think I first invested? I started investing in the wrong time. I started investing around February time, just before the market crash. And that's where the power and benefits of averaging down your cost came in. Let me just go to my history actually, so I can show you. So yeah, I first bought this ETF 3 times. Wow, what an idiot I was. 3 times I spent over £100 buying this ETF. The last one was in February. What's the 17th of February? So just a couple of days before the market crashed, and yeah, that was probably the worst timing ever that I could have got into this stock. But the power of averaging into this ETF meant that I'm now in the green for it, and yeah, I'm going to continue to average into that and hopefully reap the benefits. Yeah, that's it for my stock portfolio update this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you didn't, leave in the comments why you didn't, and hopefully I can improve for next time. In a bit.